Hey, it's Brian Colvert at Bonfire Financial. I wanted to come to you today and give you 3 questions you should ask yourself before making any financial decision. It doesn't matter whether you're hiring a financial advisor, looking to refinance your mortgage, or even you've been watching one of those infomercials late at night about how to invest in real estate or whatever might be out there. You should ask these 3 questions to make sure it makes sense for you and your financial future. So the first question that you want to ask yourself on any financial decision you're making is, what is the investment philosophy? Also, does it make sense? And lastly, do I really believe in this philosophy? Now, I know I kind of snuck a few extra questions in there, but let's really dive into it. Now, on the investment philosophy, what I mean by that is when you talk to a financial advisor, they have different ideas out there. They have different ways of doing things. It could be through mutual funds, ETFs, individual stock picking, options, the list is long and many. But really what I am saying is understand where they're coming from. Why are they choosing that philosophy? Why are they buying or selling? And really get a good understanding of it. And then secondly, look at it and say, does this pass the sniff test? And what I mean by that is, the old adage of, if I go up to the refrigerator in the morning, I get a gallon of milk and I smell it, if it doesn't smell good, I'm not going to drink it. If this philosophy, after I understand it and I understand the reasoning behind it, if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. It's never going to be a long-term fit if you just have that, kind of gut level feeling of this doesn't make sense to me. And then the third thing is do I believe in it? So if you understand it and you think it actually, it is common sense and it makes sense to you. And the third thing is do I believe in it? Do I really think this is going to work for me and my philosophy? Right? Like you could have the first 2, but if you really don't think, I should say, that it's going to actually improve your financial future and move you forward in a meaningful way, then it's probably not a good fit either. So you really want to start kind of asking yourself that question. I know it's kind of 3 questions into one, but it's kind of a big important question to ask. And that leads us to actually our second question. Second financial question that you want to ask yourself when making any financial decision is, do I trust this person? Do I trust the advisor that's giving it? Or do I trust the person who gave me the stock tip? Or do I trust the person who's doing the info commercial late at night at 2 a.m? It really comes down to trust. I almost would say it's more important than question 1, but I think understanding still is going to take the cake as the most important question. But when it comes to trust, and I look at advisors, is 2 things that are actually going to help you go a little bit further is if they have a CFP or they're acting as a true fiduciary. Now, what do I mean by that? A CFP is governed by a code of ethics, and a fiduciary, and they have to act as a fiduciary too as well. But what does that mean? The term gets thrown out quite a bit, fiduciary. And really all it means is that person has to act in your best interest. Actually, what they really need to do is put your interest above their own. So what they really have to do is disclose any conflict of interest and make sure that you're getting the best product regardless of how much they're going to get paid or what their commission is. And so I really think that is going to put you a long way ahead of the game. Now, I'm not saying that's the be-all, end-all. I know there's quite a few good advisors out there, and if you really trust them, it doesn't really matter whether they have a CFP or not, but it really does come down to the fact of, do I trust this person? And the last question, number 3, when you're making any financial decision, is what is the downside risk? And can I afford that downside risk? Now, I know everyone is hoping and expecting that it always goes up, but there's always that chance that it doesn't go as well, or it goes a little bit sideways. And what is that actually going to be? So is it a 10% decline? Is it a 20%? Or is it losing the whole investment altogether? You want to understand that. And you'd also want to make sure that whatever that answer is, as far as how much that downside risk is, that you've allocated the correct amount to it. So if it's a small amount, maybe you could put a little bit more depending on what your situation is. And if it's a very large amount that you could lose, like 100%, maybe you don't want to put all of your money in that one basket. So it's just one of those last questions that make sure that you're putting the exact amount of money into the right place to make sure that your financial future stays intact. So those were the 3 questions that you want to ask yourself when you're making any financial decision. So I hope that was very helpful, and I look forward to seeing you soon.